See, everybody thinks I'm a great head porter. I shouldn't say everybody. People think I'm a great head porter, but really what I'm great at is telling a story. So, I've got a story for you. I used to teach fourth grade for many, many, many years. That's all I ever taught when I was teaching. But I used to tell a version of this story to my classroom. This story's title is called Cheese. Now, there's some things you need to know about the background part of this to make this whole story happen, to understand it. So, I grew up in a home. My parents moved into this house in 1979, the year I was born, and my mom still lives in that same house. This house is small. It's like 1,000 square feet. It's smaller than my shop, but it's a fine house and it was great. My mom, she was a nurse. She was an LPN. She worked at a nursing home, which is a very stressful job when you think about it, because back in those days there wasn't so many levels of nursery. Like now they've got nurses aides and a PA, and I don't know that they had as many back then. But I do know what she had to do was help people um, take showers and baths and that sort of stuff. Also administrate medicines and all that stuff. So really, really physical demanding job because she had to lift people. So my mom was a very strong woman. My dad, on the other hand, he worked at a power plant in Ponca City. Now, we grew up in Enid, Oklahoma. I see a box of cereal today and it had the word Enid, and that's the name of a girl, but that's actually the name of a town long before people decided to name their kids that. Anyway, Ponca City is an hour away, so it's an hour drive on the highway for him to go work there. It's a different story to tell why he got to working there, but he worked at that power plant, and he would go into work in the morning, and then he'd have to drive an hour home. So that's what he did. And he did other stuff whenever I was younger, but what happened was, this is somewhat of an interesting story. Sidebar, I guess. Whenever I was younger, he used to work for Halliburton, and they were building the Oakland Mall that's in Enid. It's currently all but abandoned. It's very little there. Anyway, they're putting up one of the beams, and it fell on his head and then rolled off on his shoulder. And I was in first grade, and I got a call. My dad's in the hospital, and I had to go up there and see him all busted up. But anyway, back in those days, you couldn't sue for as much. Um, so he only got $30,000, and that didn't even cover all of his medical bills. And he had lost the use of his left arm from that point on. He couldn't make a fist, which in the 80s, when I'm growing up, times were far tougher than they are now. People think now is tough. Then was pretty tough, I would say. But anyway, so you got, those are my two parents. He ends up getting, I'll flash forward, but he ends up finally getting his job. The closest good job he could find was Ponca City. It's an hour away. Then here's the thing. So you know me, obviously, you're watching my channel. I have a twin sister. So my sister, I used to tell my class, like, yeah, you may know my sister. Does Lucifer or Satan ring a bell? But I'm only kidding. At the time, though, whenever this story takes place, we were bitter rivals. So for those that have twins, congratulations. But also, you have to realize, at least in our home, the reason why we didn't really get along is because we had a battle for everything. Because even saying where my parents worked and stuff, we were very, very poor. And I shouldn't, not like destitute, but we were poor. As I would say it, there's always someone that's got more than you. But in our case, there's always someone that had less than us, too. There was just more people that had more than us. So things were really, really tight. And then, so besides the two of us, I had my younger brother, Matthew, who's 4 years younger than me. So I'll describe each one of us. And trust me, this all plays the part in the story. So my sister is extremely intelligent, but we always had a battle because it felt like we were either competing for our mom and dad's like love or support, but also they only had enough resources. Now, I know this as an adult now to really give enough for one. So they're looking at the one that's got the best chance. And if I'm smarter than my sister, then I would get stuff, and vice versa. Birthdays were always together. They had enough for one cake. So it was like things like that. It was really, really, really tough. And it makes it worse because when we're going to the same schools, like I couldn't do bad at school because Whitney could do good, and then like, why didn't you do as good as your sister? Well, because I'm not my sister. But either way, and then part of it, the biggest mistake happened was in fourth grade. Our very first report card, I had like, I want to say 4 A's and 3 B's, and she had the reverse. She had 4 B's and 3 A's. Because up until that point, my parents really thought My sister is the brightest one of all of us. She's the hope. And so when we got that first report card, I was the better one. And so for that first 9 weeks, I just totally lived it up and just rubbed it in her face. But I really didn't. I was like, if that's all it took to do that, then that's all I have to continue to do. I didn't do anything more. Whitney, on the other hand, said, no, I hate this. And from that point on, she dominated me on every report card, and I kept getting it hard for my parents. And not that I even did bad, but not as good as Whitney, so you get the idea. So that's my sister. Very, very smart, whatever else. This house we grew up in only has 3 bedrooms. So you have my parents have a bedroom, my sister has a bedroom, and I'm sharing the bedroom with my brother. Now to my brother. If you're the youngest child in a family, you are this person and you don't even realize it. They get away with murder. And that was my brother. There was, like, we always got in trouble, and this is the 80s, definitely different. Spankings happened all the time. And don't get me wrong, we're probably warranted on many of them. But he got away with everything. He still got plenty of spankings, but it's like it didn't work or something. The way I would describe him, he's the instigator of the family, for sure. So what I mean by that is he knew that Whitney and I did not get along. So he would go to Whitney to make her mad about something I did, and then go to me to make me mad at her, and then he'd just sit back and watch the show, if you get the idea. So that's what he would do. Yeah. But his biggest weakness, by the way, or not weakness, but is one of the things that makes an important part of the story is he absolutely loves cheese, or did. Loves cheese in the point of the story. So now you have the characters in mind. So a typical day for us goes like this. We will go to school. We will come home. Most times we walked. It's very rare that my mom would pick us up, because my mom, she would work from like 6 to 3, but usually they made her work later. So she might get home at 4:30. My dad, on the other hand, I love this about him. Really great work ethic that he had. He had to be at work, I think, at 7, but he would leave at 5. And you might say, well, wait a minute. How come it only takes an hour to get there? Why is he leaving an extra hour early? Why? Well, he always had the fear that his car would break down. He'd get a flat tire wreck, something like that would come up, and he wouldn't make it to work on time. And back then, like, they'd just fire you for anything. The things that now are so different, and they do it right to your face. Now it's like an email or a mass thing. But anyway, he never wanted to take that risk. He always was there on time. So he would leave at 5 a.m. in the morning, and if we were lucky, if things went well, he would get home about 6. So quite a long day for him. So, and I say this because it really does play an important part of the story. Dad's really, really exhausted from all that he does. But when we get home, typically it's like you have to do homework and stuff. But when we come home, by that point, usually mom's she's our chef of the house, obviously. She cooked. Dad very rarely ever cooked. She would get the meal almost ready to cook, and then she'd take a nap. So what I mean by that is, she would, like, if it was mashed potatoes, what she would do is she would take the potatoes, peel the potatoes, dice them up, put them in the water, let it sit in the water on the stove. She'd already have, like, the meat already breaded up. It was, say, chicken fried steak or whatever, and have it already breaded up and everything like that, just sitting, waiting inside the refrigerator. And then she'd go take a nap. And she'd say, don't bug her, don't wake her up. She'll get up. And she always did, but you for sure didn't make noise. So you had to be like quiet as possible, and you had to get your homework done. She never told you more than once. You got one time, and the second time it's happening. And so that was her. But so she would take a nap. Now, then usually what happened is she'd wake up about 5:30 or so, and then she'd go in the kitchen and start cooking, and she would be done. The meal would be done and on the table for us to eat about 6. And we always ate together as a family. We rarely ever went out to eat because we didn't have money for it. So we always sit at the table and we always ate together. Okay? So there's more of the information that you need to know. It is very important that we ate together always to them. After dinner, the kids, us, would have to do the dishes and everything else. And that was always a fight. So one person was supposed to clear the table, one person was supposed to wash the dishes, one person was to dry the dishes. No, we didn't have a dishwasher. According to my mom and dad, we had 3 dishwashers, Eric, Matthew, and Whitney. So no need for a dishwasher. You were the dishwasher. So it was always a fight that. But right after they ate, Dad would typically start a load of laundry, which would be my mom's white uniforms, because they didn't have these colorful ones that they have now. And he would do the laundry for that and iron the uniforms, because we didn't have enough money for her to have like 5 or 7 different uniforms. I think she had 3. So we had to constantly keep doing those anyway. And then right after he would get done, he'd lay down. And this would be like 7, 8. Mom, right after dinner, always in the bed. Like, she might stay up for like 30 minutes and go to bed. So she was, or take a nap, the second nap, and she would sleep. So most of the time they would be sleeping, and then we were on our own, per se. She'd wake up about 8:30 or so and tell us to get our, I'm not going to use the curse word. She always used that word, but she's instead of the other word, to bed. And then we'd have to get to bed or whatnot. Okay, so you get the rundown. So here's what happened. So I love this story and I love telling it. Here's how I know my brother loved cheese. So one time my parents, they go shopping. Back in those days, they used to give you checks. You didn't have direct deposit. So my dad, working over at Ponca City, they used to work 5 10-hour days or 4 10-hour days. So he'd have Friday, that's where they give him their checks. Well, he's not there. So they used to drive over to Ponca City, go get his check, cash the check, and go grocery shopping without the kids there, because of course we annoy them. And then whenever they would get back, they're like, you got to put away the groceries. Well, this one time, and this is what I mean by how much Matthew really enjoys the cheese. This one time they get back, and they always make us unload the groceries and put them away. And so when we're unloading the groceries, we're always looking to see what they got, because obviously the other thing I didn't tell is we were always hungry, not because we weren't fed. We were just always hungry. I don't know how to describe this. Always hungry, even though we ate a lot, clearly a lot. And we weren't overweight because we were always doing stuff anyway. I can't even tell you, I don't really know why I wasn't at all. I was on the thin side anyway, and I ate all the time. But so we get the groceries, and we're unloading, and we can see what they have. And I remember this one time, and Mom never got this, right? She got this, and they're at the store now, but 300 slices of cheese. So it's like this big. It's like 3 pounds of cheese. And by the way, the 80s is great. Here's what I mean by it's great. No one ever asked, I wonder what's in it. Is it healthy? I wonder. We didn't care. Did it taste good? It tastes good. We didn't go, is that hot dog made of all beef? I don't care what's in it. Don't tell me what's in it. I don't want to know. It tasted fine. The cheese, it's not real cheese. I don't care what it is. So anyway, this 300 slice of cheese, we're like, oh my gosh, this is the good cheese. This isn't because we always kept getting the generic cheese. And my parents never took food stamps or nothing like that before you think that way. But we never got name brand cheese. It was always the packaged generic cheese, and that's like a cheese paste that stuff's disgusting. But you still ate it because you're hungry. But this was the ones that not wrapped, individual, you just eat it. And we're putting it away, and the mistake Mom and Dad makes, because this is an unwritten rule that was in our house. Like, Mom never told us this, Dad never told us this. We just knew this rule existed. It was, if something's open, you can eat it. All right? So if they open a box of cookies, by chance, if they got them, you could eat the cookies once it's open. Same with crackers, cereal, anything, including the cheese. But here's the catch. You had to leave at least one left. And now you're like, what do you mean? That sounds ridiculous. No. Kid logic here. If you eat it all, like let's say I ate every cookie that's in that package because they opened it. Then what happens is Mom and Dad goes to get that cookie. He's like, where's the cookies? I didn't get any. I didn't get a single one. So you always leave one. So they can't say, I didn't get a single one. Never happens. And it wasn't like Matthew and I or Whitney even discussed this. We just like, if it's open, we go. That's one thing you could never do. You could not open that package, whatever it was. So if the cheese wasn't open, you couldn't have it. If the crackers weren't open, or cookies, whatever, you could not open it. But once the parents opened it, free game. So Mom and Dad were hungry from their shopping experience, and they didn't know the rule that we knew the rule, and they had opened this 300-pound or 300 slices of cheese block, and to make themselves a sandwich. And so they make the sandwich, probably use 2 slices of cheese on it and whatever. And instantly, we all knew what was going on. So Matthew volunteers to put away the cold stuff in the refrigerator. Of course he does. And he eats the cheese as if he's going hungry. I'm talking like 2 or 3, and he's eating fast. So this isn't like just enjoying the moment. No, he's eating as fast as he can, because that's the other thing about having us 3 kids. Because we're so competitive, it was like almost that you got it, you would eat it, because if you didn't, one of the other 2 would always get it anyway. So I know that was what he's thinking in his head. Remember, this is 3 pounds of cheese. This is 300 slices. And so he's just chewing through this cheese. And Mom happens to come over and is like, get away from that cheese. Get your, again, the rear end, to your room. And she puts away the cheese. And so then I have to go into my ninja mode, because I think we learned our best skills when we were kids about how to be really sneaky if we had to. Like I definitely could have been the spy. Because we could sneak in there and get a slice of cheese and she would never know. So we'd sneak in there and he'd get the slice of cheese, and then she'd catch us. Of course, she'd get it. So I got some cheese. Whitney got some cheese. I know we all got some cheese, right? And this is like a Saturday. So anyway, don't think much more about the cheese thing. Mom does never let you in the kitchen. If she's not in there, you don't belong in the kitchen. Get your rear end out of the kitchen. So anyway, I'm not thinking too much of it. I'm playing in my room, and I look over and Matthew's chewing something. I'm like, are you chewing gum? And I got to pause here for a second, because you got to be careful about Matthew and gum. This is a sidebar story. One time we were walking home from Sunday school. We didn't go to church. We went to Sunday school because my dad, because his days off were Saturday or Sunday, he would not go to church because he needed some time to rest. My mom had to work on Sundays at the nursing home. But you kids get on to Sunday school, and we'd actually have to dress up too. So anyway, we go to Sunday school by ourselves. We're walking home. And I look back, and Matthew's chewing on gum. Now, Mom and Dad never bought us gum, even though it was like 25 cents back then for a package or whatever. Never got us gum. It never happened. It had to be like a special something happened. So I'm like, how'd you get gum, Matthew? He's like, because I'm thinking someone at Sunday school in his class, because he's in a different class than us, maybe he won some kind of special prize for memorizing the memory verse or whatever else, and he got some gum. Nowhere. I was like, oh, here we go. Here we go. And I'm like, no, really, where'd you get it? Someone gave it to me. I'm like, who gave it to you? Because I'm like, because that's always that when we were in this generation would never understand that. If you ever had a package of gum, everybody wanted a stick of your gum. And then it never lasted long anyway. But so I thought maybe that's what happened. And I don't think much about it. And he goes home, and this is totally disgusting. When the gum loses its flavor, he has this brilliant idea that we have a sugar bowl right by the coffee maker, and he would take the gum out and he'd throw it in the sugar bowl, and he'd smash the sugar in it so it'd get its flavor back. Totally disgusting. So Mom sees him chewing the gum. So now Mom sees him chewing the gum, and she's like, where did you get that gum? And you can't lie to Mom, because you're going to get it. I got it from a tree. And I'm thinking, well, he found a package of gum up in the tree, even though it sounds unrealistic. And Mom asked the follow-up question, what do you mean you got it from a tree? It was just sticking in the tree. He had taken someone had chewed their gum and they stuck it to the tree, and Matthew had took that gum. So that's the gum that ended up in the sugar thing. Did I have the heart to tell my parents, hey, look, Mom, he also put it in the sugar thing that you're using for your coffee? No. Why didn't I? Because it's funnier not to. I didn't use that sugar. So anyway, funny. So I'm seeing him chew in the bedroom, and I'm thinking, oh, we got some gum off of a tree again. This moron does not learn his lesson. And he's like, no, don't tell Mom. Don't tell Mom. Don't tell Mom. Don't tell Mom. Please don't tell Mom. I'm like, what is it then? It's cheese. I'll give you some. You want some cheese? And he had literally taken like a stack of cheese. And I'm like, our room's not refrigerated, obviously. And he had wrapped it up in aluminum foil, and it kept it cold, and he was eating some of it. And I was like, yeah, I'll take a slice. I won't say anything. But it was like this much, right? So I don't think much of it. The day progresses, And I feel like, I keep seeing him chewing, but I'm like, well, he's still eating the same amount. So you flash forward to like Monday morning. My dad's getting ready to go to work. He goes to get some cheese. And he's like, Sally, that's my mom's name. Sally, where's the cheese? Where's the cheese? She's like, it's in the refrigerator. Just open your eyes. That's what every wife says to their husband. It's in the fridge. Just open your eyes. He's like, my eyes are open. It's not here. And there's a little alarm going off in my brain like, this isn't going to be good for us. And anyway, Mom goes to the fridge where it is, and there it is with one slice. And he's like, well, where's the cheese? And so Mom calls us in there. She's like, Whitney, Eric, Matthew, get your... We're in here right now. She's like, what happened to this cheese? And of course, we're like, who ate it? I'm like, well, I had some. You ate 300 slices of cheese? $2.99? And you had some too, Mom. You know, doing that whole number. And she's like, don't you ever do that again. And to prevent us from doing that again, so she goes to get cheese again. And what she started doing after that, when she get the 300 block of cheese, which again, squirrel will find a nut. But what she did was she took the cheese and she would take those individual, like 100 stack, and she'd put it in the freezer. Thinking there's no way they'll eat it when it's frozen. Again, Matthew pulled it off again. Because what would happen is you couldn't peel the whole piece of cheese off without it thawing. You'd have to thaw it to pull it. So instead, he would chip away and would get the outside parts of it. Pretty bad. And Mom got onto him for that again. Now, remember when I said Mom had no problem with spanking us. And my mom's got this big arm, right? And when she gives you a spanking, what she does, she swings for the fences. She's like Babe Ruth with her arm. She's like, all the way down from Chinatown and boom. That's if she used her hand. Usually she used the belt. But even with the belt, all the way back around from Chinatown and wham. When you get hit, it would take your breath away. Like, oh. You'd see your soul leave your body. You'd have to get a spanking again to watch it come right back. Oh! That's what it was like getting the spankings. Hard, right? So we never liked to get it. So anyway, we all know Matthew's the cheese problem. Now, here's the story. So Mom comes home. We all come home from school, whatever. Mom comes home. She starts preparing dinner. And one of the things she's getting ready to make is she's going to make macaroni and cheese. Now, for you guys that are in the later generations have no idea about this, but macaroni and cheese wasn't as easy back then as it is now. Now you just open up your Velveeta and you squeeze out that gooey goodness. It's not cheese. We never cared what was in it before. We don't now to make it. So that part's really easy now. It was not then. You'd have to buy your own macaroni. And then the main ingredient for this would be two things. Milk she would use, and also this thing called Cheez Whiz, which hopefully I put as a thumbnail so you can see what I'm talking about. Cheez Whiz came in this glass jar, and you would have to keep it in the refrigerator, I think, after you've opened it ever. But it was not real cheese. I don't care what they call it. It was delicious. It's delicious. We were lucky you could put it on celery, and it was great. We only got that on holidays. But that's the main ingredients to make macaroni and cheese. Macaroni, milk, and Cheez Whiz. My mom has a big thing about wasting food too, like a huge thing, because we never had a lot of food anyway. I mean, we did have a lot of food, but we didn't have a lot of money. So if you ever wasted food, you get it. So when we're sitting at the table, the way it would always go, the food gets passed. It goes Dad first, then Mom, then Matthew for whatever reason. Whitney and I'm dead last. So Matthew, being selfish and doesn't want anybody to have it, I remember one time he took almost all the macaroni and cheese. And when it finally got to me, there was hardly any left. Of course, I complained to Mom. She's like, well, that's how it's going to be. And I knew, looking at Matthew's plate, this is going to be a bad thing for him. Because he took so much, I was like, he won't be able to finish it. And if he can't finish it, Mom's going to spank him. Because he shouldn't have done that. And that's what happened. So anyway, she's got the rest of the stuff done. She's taken her nap before dinner, has everything ready to go. She wakes up. We're playing in our room, doing our own normal stuff, whatever we're doing. And Mom's boiling the macaroni, got the macaroni going. She goes to the pantry, or not the pantry, but to the refrigerator, and she pulls out the jar of Cheez Whiz and opens it up. And all I hear is, I hear her slam something down on the table, and then I hear, Eric, Whitney, Matthew, get your, we're in, he out here right now. And we're like, oh, we know that tone. It's never good, okay? Ever. So anyway, we go out there, and she's like, what is this? What happened? Who did it? And the only thing I thought was, who did what? Because I don't have a clue what she's talking about. Because, I mean, yes, I do a lot of naughty stuff because we were kids. But I didn't have a clue what she was talking about. Whitney didn't either. Matthew has the, because he could pull it off too. He's got the clueless look on his face too. I'm like, you never know, that kid. Anyway, I was like, what are you talking about, Mom? And she takes that Cheez Whiz jar and she slams it down the counter. What's this? And me being the idiot, I'm like, it's Cheez Whiz. And she goes, no. And she opens up the jar and she goes, what's this? And she shows us. And I was like, oh my God. And the two things I thought when I saw it was, dang, I wish I'd thought of that. That's pretty clever. And the other thing is, Matthew did it again. So I'm going to tell you he did it. And I know he did it. But here's what he did. And here's the whole thing. Cheez Whiz is like peanut butter. It's like peanut butter, but it's cheese. And when it's in a jar, it wraps all the way around the jar. What Matthew had done is he had broke the rule. The unspoken rule is that he'd opened something without it being opened first. He'd opened the Cheez Whiz jar, and what he'd done with the spoon is he just ate the center and never touched the glass that had the cheese attached. So if you look at the outside of this Cheez Whiz jar, you would just see like it's full because there's no scrapings. But then you take off the lid, which is what Mom did. She looks down in there, and it's empty. She has macaroni that's boiling, and there's no Cheez Whiz to go with it because she thought there's a jar of Cheez Whiz in there. Everything should be golden. Needless to say, she's pretty pissed. So she's like, which one of you three did it? And I'm not saying anything because I know I didn't do it. We all of us knew who did it. And I don't know what bluff game Mom's playing, but she knows too. But anyway, Whitney doesn't say it. So I'm like, I didn't do it. Whitney's like, I didn't do it. Matthew's like, I didn't do it. And we all know he did it. So Mom goes, one of you is going to confess, or I'm spanking all three of you. And I'm like, you better confess, Matthew. That's what my mind, I'm thinking. You better confess, Matthew, because I'm not taking one. I'm not taking it. And Matthew, this is what I mean by instigator. He says this to Mom. He goes, fine. If no one else is going to admit that they did it, fine, I did it. And Mom goes, I didn't think you did it. Eric, get over here. And she starts spanking me. And I mean, wham. Oh, once my soul comes back, I'm looking over at Matthew, staring in our bedroom door, just laughing. And the whole time I'm like, because I'm trying not to. And she just wore me out too. So for dinner that night, we had, I don't remember what the main course was, but we had regular macaroni. And we still had to eat it. The catch is on Matthew because Mom's like, you're going to take the same amount that you normally get. So he had to take the same amount that he would normally get with just macaroni. It wasn't that bad. I mean, that's not that bad. But anyway, it was a lightning point. And you might say, why did you tell that story to your kids? Well, I always tell it like at the beginning of the year when I'm telling the students because it was like, see, what's going to happen here is sometimes I'm really good at figuring out who did what. Sometimes I'm not. And sometimes you guys are going to lie to me. And I can tell you this, just like my mom in the story, someone is always going to pay the consequence for something going on. So no matter what you think, and you think maybe you got away with it, someone here will have to pay in some way. So it's better to come forward because eventually someone will find out, or they know who really did it, and you end up paying. Because it wasn't like Matthew didn't get a consequence. We shared the same room. So for the next 2 hours, as soon as I could get to walking again, I was trying to chase him down. So because I knew, though, because I used one of my mom's lines. My mom used to always do this to me whenever we get spankings. I was like, I'd try running. She's like, go ahead and run. You got to rest sometime. Yep. So I'm doing the same thing with my brother. I'm like, go ahead. Night, night. It's coming. We'd fight every night, though, anyway, so it wasn't anything new. But yeah, someone always pays. So anyway, thought I'd share that little story with you. I don't know how long this went, but oh, if you made it this far, because thank you for doing that. If you are the 5th person to email me after 8:01 a.m. tomorrow, which would be Friday, I'll be at my son's swim meet, Club State. Yes, I'm very, very stressed as it is. The shop is doing really busy. Just trying to make a living doing that. But that's hectic. But I'm also really worried about Bishop not having his best times. And maybe he won't, maybe he will. But that's tomorrow for Club State. So yeah, you're like, how'd you do a technical video? Because after that last video that was 52 minutes long about going negative, I was like, screw it. And also, truthfully, I just didn't have time. You're like, well, you're doing this now. Currently, it is 11:50 on Thursday. So I thought I'd do this. You might say, why did you even do the video then? You could have just gone to bed. Because the algorithm will then cause it to not show anybody anything. So even if I did something great, like the supercharger of the year or something really, really cool, it wouldn't get recommended to people because I didn't put out a video this week for whatever reason. It's just how this stupid algorithm works, hence this. So there's that. Anyway, I don't really have anything else for you. I think the next video that I will like to do was the Circle Track engine sitting over there. I'm going to put it on the engine stand. I'm going to show you how you can actually check what your camshaft specs are without having a cam card, because that's what I'm going to do on that one, because I need to see what its specs are so we can figure out where to go. I'm still going to probably do, maybe I won't do a Saturday update video because he has to swim on Saturday too, and then on Sunday. And on Monday too, because he has to be in Edmond at Allstate. So it's really busy, really, really busy. But yeah, I do plan to do more technical videos. I just didn't, time has not been on my side. It's the most valuable thing in the world, if I'm being honest. Random thought, because you made it this far too. I was talking to David Visor this week, and it's not about what you think. He called and said, are you doing okay? Don't let the negativity get to you, that sort of stuff. But actually, when I was talking to him, I was thinking, I can't believe what I'm doing right now. When I was in, I worked at that same power plant my dad did when I was in college and stuff. But when I was there, I was, we didn't have internet back then, obviously. Well, actually, there was internet, but not like what you would have today. It's really hard to describe to people that don't understand, where you'd have to have minutes you could buy and things like that. But anyway, so I used to read his books like religiously. And this is pre-email. And I reached out to his publisher to try to write him to ask him how he built this flow bench, because I really wanted to figure out how to build a flow bench to actually start flowing heads. And they're like, we can't give you his address. You could send it here, and then hopefully he'll get it. And then here I am. I'm literally talking to the guy I tried writing. Even if I don't agree with, I wouldn't say most, but a large portion of what I wouldn't even say that. Even though I don't agree with everything that he puts out as far as the information, and some of the information I don't find to be accurate with what I'm testing or things I've seen on the dyno at all, I do think it's neat to see someone you looked up to when you were younger, and now I literally have his phone number and I can call him anytime. Granted, he's 82 years old now, and yeah, I have busted his balls a few times, but it is kind of, when I look back, I'm like, I can't believe that's happened, you know? It's cool to me. But then I'm also like, you should take more advantage of it. Ask him about stuff that you really would be curious to know about. Not some of the other engine stuff that you've tested, but just different things, like how he got to where he was, why did he write his first book, who picked it up, that sort of stuff. Not that I'd even do that. That era of writing books like that and getting published is dead. It's all internet stuff and forums and things. So that's gone. But in somewhat, I'm curiosity of everything. So, but that's still pretty neat. I know I rambled there a little bit to tell you that, but anyway, that's all I got. I should probably get to bed because I bet you this video is long too. But again, if you're the 5th person that emails me after 8:01 a.m. tomorrow, or yeah, it's still tomorrow, on Friday, I will send you a shirt as long as you're extra large and live in the United States. I've got one of those seriously wrong shirts that I have for my son's Nova, although the Nova is actually totally black now because it's in primer. The transmission, by the way, does not work for sure. It failed. I was driving it to the guy to get it painted, and it would not shift out of second. Well, I didn't say that. It did it once. It didn't do it twice. So, anyway, there you go. That's all I got for you. Hopefully this helps the algorithm. If you want to help it too, just put a comment in there about your favorite cheese. And I'm curious to see what you say on that. But thanks for watching. Hopefully pray for my son to have a good swim meet. I told you I'm not Superman. That's the reason why these videos suck. I'll get the tech stuff later. Although I did do on TikTok for what it's worth. I've been like porting stuff and do a 1-minute video or something, and I'll put it on TikTok. Just because I'm like, it's not going to make a full video on YouTube. It wouldn't be worth doing it, but it's cool to just put it out there. Anyway, that's all I got. I think, although I should say this, one of the guys wants me to dyno this big block Ford, this 557. I did the video on the Pro Comp heads for it. I think that's going to be coming up on the dyno at some point. I just need to gather just a little bit of time. So, also I'm running out of time with my son. He leaves on August 16th. Rambled long enough. Time to say goodbye.